Now, please, let me advise you. As a young man, as a young woman, grow large in your spirit. Grow very large. Give yourself to fasting. Give yourself to prayer now.
He was brought back. So the first thing that we need to look at is what we call inheritance. Inheritance is one of the factors that can implicate you. The ground that the devil has secured has nothing to do with your own life. It has everything to do with something, a garbage, a liability that you inherited. And that can become a premise of negative legality upon which Satan can stand to manipulate your destiny. Remember that this physical world came out, was given birth to from where? From the invisible world, and any man that has a handle on how to manipulate the invisible world will dominate the physical world. The second thing that can lend an opportunity for manipulation around your life is what we call iniquity. First is inheritance. Second is iniquity. Iniquity. And iniquity, let me give you a very simple definition of iniquity so that the one you can remember, not necessarily a theological one, right? Iniquity is when, basic definition of iniquity is when a man uses his will against the will of God. Uses his will against the will of God. It is an insult in the sight of God that has grievous consequences that are transgenerational. And one of those scenarios where the will of man is used against the will of God is in idolatry. 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 A certain brother is a churchgoer. The churchgoer is not very serious with his Christian life, and then he died mysteriously. When he died mysteriously, some women came and said, he cannot die like a chicken. And the evidence that they brought that he cannot die like a chicken was that it was his grandfather that translated the hymn book to their language. And because of that, he has credit on his life. Do you know that on the basis of that credit, they pleaded with heaven and the guy's life was restored? You know why? There was an inheritance in his lineage, inheritance of goodwill. They used that to plead their case in the court of heaven, and heaven. You see, raising the dead is a tricky matter. We will not talk about it today. We'll need to bring some evidences first, about 12 evidences, before we start talking about raising the dead. It's a very tricky matter. One of the things that can enhance it is your inheritance. How many of you still remember the woman that died? Is it Dorcas in the Bible? And they brought evidences that no, this type should not, no, this one cannot be killed like a chicken. She must live and fulfill her days. And there were evidences that were brought forth, and the Apostle Paul, standing on those evidences, pleaded with the court of heaven, and a verdict for her release was passed in the heavens. It takes a lot of spiritual intelligence to be able to reverse something that has already been done. During the course of this lecture, if we have time, because I've been studying death for a while. And I found out that most of the burials we have done, we buried people that had no business with death, with the grave. All of these short changes in lifespan that took place are based on manipulations that were done from the realm of the spirit. Are you there? And I'm studying the technology by which we can reverse unauthorized deaths, people that appeared in heaven before their time. Are you still with me? At least I will give you the tricks. Huh? And if you happen to stumble upon a situation where you perceive that this death is unauthorized, there are a few things you should do. If it doesn't work, then let's go for burial. But don't go for burial without trying. The devil's assignment is to steal, is to kill, is to destroy. That's what it does. If he shows up, you might see him with dark goggles. He's not trying to take a picture. He doesn't want to do selfie. The reason why he showed up is because he wants to kill. Exactly. So there's this angle of iniquity. There's this angle of iniquity. And I've seen very diligent pastors in ministry, very diligent pastors, and with all the labor, 25 years, 30 years, there is no breakthrough. It is not because they are slothful. It's not because they don't know how to pray. It's not because they don't understand the Bible. But there are many other matters that can be overlooked, that can be the reason for which their destiny is being manipulated. There's nothing wrong with starting small, but there's everything wrong with remaining small. Everything is wrong with it. Because the Bible says, though thy beginning be small, thy later end shall greatly increase. He said, a little one will become 1,000. A small one will become a strong nation. So God, the approved way of beginning is small, but as your capacity in the spirit begins to increase, your stature begins to increase, your faithfulness before the Lord begins to increase, He begins to give you more measures and more measures and more measures. That is supposed to be the story of everyone that is faithful in the labors of God. How I wish it was that simple. There are other factors that can manipulate outcomes. If there is a record of iniquity in the lineage, Satan can use that as an argument. Are you there?
Now, please, let me advise you. As a young man, as a young woman, grow large in your spirit. Grow very large. Give yourself to fasting. Give yourself to prayer now.